Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the interview that Jeffree Star did with Keemstar on his podcast Mom's Basement, where he addresses some more of the Dahvie Vanity situation as well as his old tweets, as well as bringing James Charles back up into the drama. If you haven't seen my previous video about the interview that Jeffree Star did with Chris Hansen, I will link that up over here as well as down in the description down below, so definitely make sure you go and check that out as well. And I didn't want this video to be another long, 30-minute video about the whole situation, so I'm just going to make sure I pull some of the clips that I thought were the most important or the most relevant about everything that has been going on. Alright, let's go ahead and jump on into what happened on this podcast.
The thing is I did not see a crime ever committed in person, and there's a lot of people that in their head want to believe that I did, and I of course never did because that's horrifying, and I would of course report it.
Let me read the tweet that people are getting hung up on. Okay, so it's an old tweet from you, Jeffree, that says, "I'm going to speak the truth until I die. We saw Dahvie bring underage girls to his hotel room and do sexual things 100%. So
I can't believe that I'm about to say this, but thank you, Keemstar. I figured that Chris Hansen would have addressed this tweet, but for some reason he never brought it up. So when I heard you bring up this tweet in the podcast, I was like, okay, thank you. This is the tweet that everybody had the most problems with, because this tweet says, we saw you doing these things, 100% illegal. That's the biggest issue that people are having with this tweet, is that you literally are saying, we saw you do this. So thankfully, Keemstar asked him about this so we could finally get an explanation about what this tweet was about.
that's the thing where they're like,
Yes,
he saw. Yeah.
Was that you assuming that happened?
No, that's people in the music scene telling me and me speaking for them.
Okay.
Did I see with my own eyes? No. Were we on tour a few times and there was always people around? Yeah, and I mentioned this yesterday and people were kind of shook. Mothers would bring their daughters to these shows.
I mean, that's such a misleading tweet, isn't it? That's so misleading.
And here I have to 100% agree with Colossal, and I'm glad that Keemstar is actually doing this interview because he has people on this show that aren't scared to say, hey, that tweet sounds extremely misleading to me. You literally said in that tweet, we saw you do something. So to me, I would assume as an onlooker, that means that you physically saw something. So that was why everybody was having an issue with this tweet, is because it is saying we saw something, but yet nobody has actually questioned him that he has responded to anyways about this tweet. So thankfully, somebody finally is.
Which part?
No? We saw Dahvie bring underage girls to his hotel rooms and do things 100% illegal. Of course, people are going to interpret that as you seeing that with your own eyes.
Oh, of course. So 10 years later, I'm telling people, did I see a crime or anything actual illegal? No. Other people did and told me that at the time.
So when this tweet got brought back up again, the easiest thing that could have been done is if Jeffree just literally tweeted out saying, hey, I understand that this is what the tweet says, but this is not what I actually meant by it. What I meant by is that people behind the scenes were telling me things, and so I relayed that on a platform that I had. I did not physically see anything. Everything that I said in that tweet was from other people telling me what was going on behind the scenes. You could have literally just tweeted that out, and this whole thing would have been squashed a lot sooner than waiting for you to go on this podcast to try to clarify everything.
Do you think that there was enough evidence at the time? I mean, not even evidence, because like you said, you keep saying you didn't see it for yourself, but there were enough suggestions there to make you kind of hesitant, A, to work with him, and B, consider the possibility of reporting him. And do you regret not doing so now?
I regret working with them again. I didn't see anything to actually report. So when I say inappropriate behavior, I think people think it's something way more aggressive.
And that statement right there would have been an easy tweet that you could have put out as soon as this tweet resurfaced, and you could have said that, and that would have helped people understand what you actually meant behind this tweet. I don't know, I think it's kind of dumb that you literally waited until you went on the podcast to address this tweet instead of just issuing a statement on your own platform that has millions of followers.
And I never saw underage girls with him alone. You know, there is a survivor that has went on record saying, hey, Jeffree and his friends were present during me being there in these times. And 10 years ago, I don't remember that person. And I'm not going to pretend to follow a narrative of what people want me to say that I saw.
Can I ask you a question? Have any of these victims come forward and put you in a time and a place where
Yes.
you would have seen.
Yeah, one person has said that they saw me in an environment where they were alone with him and kissing. And I'm like, you guys, absolutely not.
From what I can understand by following all this is I'm going to assume that this is Damien who has come out and said that Jeffree has seen this stuff. So I went over to Pastel Bell's page where Damien did an interview with Pastel, and I wanted to see what Damien had to say about the whole situation, and this is the conversation that they had back and forth.
A lot of other celebrities and people bore witness to this. So how do you feel about them? Like, how involved were they in this whole thing?
Like, I'm not the person here to determine guilt and like how much they knew and didn't know or whatever, because I wasn't inside of their brain. I didn't know if they knew I was 11. I didn't know if they knew I didn't know if all of them knew what I was doing with Dahvie entirely, or if we just hung out. You know, I wasn't inside the brain. I can't tell you what assumptions they made.
So right here, you can hear Damien say that they don't know what anybody actually knew what was going on. They have no idea what was going on inside of everybody's heads, and they don't know what they actually knew and they didn't know, so they can't place the blame on anybody else. But then Damien follows it up by saying this.
Mm-hmm. But I can tell you that Jeffree Star called out Dahvie Vanity because of me in August of 2010, literally a month after the whole You Done Goof thing happened, and then made up with him. Only after, I don't know, maybe some financial shit. Like, it seems like Jeffree Star only has a financial incentive for anything he does. Like, it seemed like he was trying to defend me at one point, but then, like, because the favor wasn't in my direction, he, like, backed the fuck off because, like, there wasn't any money in it. And then he just goes to basically be like, oh, my brother Dahvie, when, like, he saw me. Like, you said you saw me.
But my only problem with that statement is that Damien literally said that they had no idea who knew what, but then Damien goes out and says that Jeffree Star for sure called out Dahvie because of what happened to Damien, but then you turn around and say that he put those tweets out because of you and he saw you, but yet in that tweet he doesn't specify who he actually saw or what he actually saw. He just said, we saw you do these things. So you can't specifically say that he put these tweets out because of you. So these are, again, those blanket statements where you're saying, oh, people knew and they saw stuff, but they didn't say things. But then you also turn around and say, well, I don't know what people saw, so I can't place the blame on them. And then again, turn around and say, well, I know for sure that Jeffree saw. He put those tweets out. Those tweets are about me. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. I mean, if I'm completely misunderstanding what Damien is trying to say here, like, please let me know down in the comments. But from what I can understand is that Damien is saying that the blame can't be placed on anybody because Damien has no idea who knew what about what happened, but yet at the same time says that Damien knows for sure that those tweets are about them. That Jeffree put those tweets out because of them. So, I mean, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. If I'm confused, let me know in the comments. But as far as what I can understand about that conversation and those tweets, that's how I'm seeing everything. Okay, well, let's go ahead and talk about what was said about James Charles in the podcast. Now, I saw people on Twitter saying that Jeffree Star is trying to drag James Charles into more drama, but it wasn't Jeffree Star that brought up James Charles in the podcast, it was Keemstar. And this is what Keemstar had to say.
There's absolutely there's a parallel here that I have to address, and if I could have the floor for a minute, because it's kind of a long question, but way back 10 years ago, you make this tweet about the blood on the dance floor guy saying, hey, we saw him take underage girls to his hotel room doing sexual things, right? And then, later you're saying, hey, I didn't technically see it. It was like kind of a group of us, which I believe you 100%. But there's this other situation that happened recently with James Charles where when that whole thing went down, like you put out some tweets saying that there's a reason why my boyfriend isn't letting James come over to our house anymore. I'm not going to talk to him. Haven't seen him since Tottie's birthday. He's a danger to society. And then you had a follow-up tweet where it was like basically saying, everyone keeps asking me for receipts. I have much to say. What's going on with that? Like,
What was the ending of all that? Like, where did that all end up?
I'll tell you. Okay, go ahead. I'll tell you the ending.
is James one thing real quick? Is James Charles a danger to society? Is he a predator?
Keem. Listen.
That was a long pause. Long ass fucking pause though.
I have to ask this.
Listen. There's a long pause because it's a very complicated situation. So before I answer, the ending, Banks, was me, James, and Tati all making peace so the internet can go back to being the internet, because it was getting so ugly and dark. But
It got crazy.
yeah, so
I hopped in a little
so
bit.
people do want to put together the parallels of this 10-year situation and me saying this stuff about James. It's a very complicated question. And why?
I know, but like it's the same scenario though, because like if James is actually a danger, right? Then this is the opportunity, like the Dahvie thing, where you can say something. You know what I mean? Or is like maybe you shouldn't have put that tweet out. Like which one is it? Like I'm sorry, Jeffree, but I have to ask.
And after hearing this, I can totally understand why Keemstar wanted to bring this up, because he's saying, okay, is this the same situation with this other tweet that you put out, where you put it out and you now are backtracking saying, okay, well, I don't know for a fact, I didn't see things. Is that the same thing that you are now doing with this James Charles tweet? Or do you have more information that you are not sharing with people because either you can't legally or you don't know if that information is true or not? So what is going on? Well, this is what Jeffree had to say.
No, I'm 100% comfortable with that. It's going to upset a lot of people, but the truth is that someone, and right now I legally can't say who, told us a few things, and we trusted that person's opinion, and then another person said some things that was friends with that man, and it really convinced us that he was a predator.
Is this another case of what happened before with the other guy?
No, this is some...
Is there a possibility of that? Because, I mean, they were telling you about this guy, which turned out to be true now. Is this possible with James?
And after hearing Jeffree's explanation about why he put out that tweet, I'm like, okay, it sounds very, very similar about what happened with the Dahvie situation. You put that tweet out after you had people in your band or his band members or people that have been on tour with him tell you, hey, like, I saw this, this is not right, this is illegal, we need to do something about this, and then you put that tweet out. So basically what I can understand from what Jeffree is saying is that the exact same thing is now happening about James, where somebody came forward and said, hey, this is what happened to me, or I saw this, or this is what happened to my friend, and then he put that tweet out. So to me, it sounds like the exact same thing that happened before.
From what I remember with all the drama, you didn't actually ever say flat out like you saw it. Like it was always in the proper context of like, listen, like I'm speaking about this from kind of the view of like the circle of people that we've been discussing this with, kind of sort of thing. Like I don't think it's similar in the sense that you flat out said, I saw some shit. You know what I mean?
Similar enough. I'm sorry. It's similar enough.
I'm lost. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's similar, but it's people that are in our community that are saying things, and I don't know if they're true or not.
So you are saying basically people are saying in the makeup community or in the beauty community all of these different things, and you don't know if they are true or not, but yet you go ahead and put out that tweet calling him a predator, just like you did with Dahvie back in the day. So to me, it sounds like the exact same thing. I understand that you didn't say, I saw James Charles do this, but you are basically saying the same thing without saying that part, from what I can understand anyways.
But this is exactly the same thing that happened before, right?
It's actually not.
What?
So if you want, we can pause and I can go in another room and play Banks what I have on my phone, and he can determine if he would have sent the same tweet. At the end of the day, I'm not going to out a victim of James Charles.
Okay.
Yeah, we
It's real because I don't know if it's real, and I'll go in the other room and play it for you.
These subjects to the
It's
subject
so
that we've been
because everyone wants to make me you ruined James Charles' career. No, Tati did and uploaded a 40-minute video about him, and she should have never uploaded that.
So my whole thing about this recording that Jeffree has, or these screenshots that Jeffree has, or whatever that he has, if he was friends with James or friendly with James at the time of all this going on, why would you not have just reached out to him and say, hey, look, I have all of these people coming forward and saying this stuff to me. What is going on? Can you please explain to me why I'm getting these messages, why I'm getting these screenshots, why I'm getting these recordings, or whatever that he's getting? Please, James, tell me what is going on so I can understand, because this doesn't look good. Instead of sending out a tweet where you call him a predator, you should have reached out to him and said, hey, like, all these people are coming forward with these accusations against you. Can you please tell me what's going on? Because I am getting a little worried here.
Yeah, that's why.
But she did. And for some reason, James thinks that me and Shane tried to ruin his life and orchestrated the whole thing. Like we fucking care.
And this I will have to agree with Jeffree on, is that he is not the one that destroyed James Charles' career, or destroyed it for that point of time anyways, where he lost his 3 million subscribers, which he's obviously gained all back by now. Jeffree wasn't the one that put out that video. Did he add on to it by tweeting that stuff out? Absolutely. But Tati was the one that put out that video that started all of this, so she is the one that all the blame technically falls on, because she is the one that started it. Let's be honest. You can hate Jeffree all that you want, but Tati is the one that put out that 43-minute video, putting all that information out there, not Jeffree.
Look, if James Charles is ever listening, call me or sit down with me, and I will show you what was shown to me.
Yeah, I think you guys should do that.
And I will tell you a year later exactly what happened behind the scenes, and either he cares or he doesn't.
Now, if I was James Charles and I heard Jeffree say this, I personally would reach out and say, look, I want to see what you have. I want to hear what these people are saying about me, things that I did or whatever. So that way I know what I'm up against, because I don't believe that I've done anything wrong. So please tell me what these people are saying. Let me see what they're sending you, because I feel like the people are out to get me. Like, I would personally want to know, if I was James, what people are sending to Jeffree saying that he has on him, because I would be worried, because obviously look what happened before. I would want to know what kind of lies people are trying to spread about me, or what kind of information they have on me. But that's just my opinion.
Keem, he messaged one of my close friends and basically said that he unfollowed that guy because my friend follows me and Shane, who tried to ruin his life. So the fact that he still thinks that a few weeks ago is scary. Tati did that.
One thing that I will never understand is when people take the blame from one person and shift it to another. Let's be honest, Tati was the one that started all this drama. Jeffree is 100% correct. So the fact that James is not following people because they follow Jeffree and Shane, Jeffree added on to the drama. All of this really falls back on Tati, 100%. It's like this whole thing that just happened with Morgan Adams, where people are attacking Morgan Adams because she did a collab video with Trisha Paytas. Morgan Adams is not responsible for the drama that Trisha Paytas gets herself into. Period. That's it. You are not responsible for anybody's actions but your own. So the fact that people are always constantly projecting other people's actions onto other people, it's not right. If you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at the person who originally started the problem. So James, your issue should be with Tati. Can you be upset with Jeffree for calling you a predator? Absolutely. But he is not the one that destroyed your career at that point in time. That was all Tati, 100%. She is the one that released that 43-minute hit video on you, basically, not Jeffree. Let's be honest. But that is everything that I have for today's video, so I'd love to know what you guys think about everything down in the comments below. If you like this video, please make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could hit the big red subscribe button and hit the bell icon and set your notifications to all so you'll be notified of every time that I upload a new video. Alright, that's everything for today, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!